Oh boy, the pathological system, communications, the perimeters and security measures of space anomalies coming into Trojans, which means it's a cyclone and it's containing all alteration cat. It's a it's a catalyst to positions of travel connections. Now, in position, let's understand what a Trojan is. If you're not sure, it's a cyclone of misinterpretation, mislocations, misactivations. So it's kind of like a horse galloping into your computer and changing everything through your frames. So in position, right? If you get a Trojan in your computer, you understand what I'm talking about. It's all about glazing the perimeters into the backdoor connections. It's understanding how to get into the alteration, how to reframe, readjust, resurface position of time, location, of space. Space is in that position. I got the graphing positions last night. My mind is not going on so many levels of interference, and the wire location position is going into a magnetic new field, which is connected to the alterations of humanity connection. So the magnetic forces and the positions of the gravity connections is all line signaled, right, to their provision and activation to their connections of their spine, everything to the activation of the drain set position, the magnetic force, and everything through space anomaly is changing all levels of its Trojan. So the cyclones, so it's like a cyclone, it's like a tornado, and its wind spins everything to electrical lights. It's connected to the high rising connections of the center position of computer, which is an electrical board. So it's repositioning, realigning adjustments to its condition. You understand space and time is nothing but a humongous computer. So it's understanding how to use these computer and reverse the cycle connections. Put everybody in the gravitation system into 5D activation of telepathy connection. So all the magnetic charges in position is changing all your connections in the brainwaving pattern positions of space-time anomaly. That's what's happening right now through connections. I had to go through my alteration computers, 12 central line system simulation core. I had to change my processes, and I had to basically glaze my wire location. Glazing is like changing connections to a force of a metal. It's connected to a main system. So it's kind of like going to a store and buying new wires, replacing the old wires and getting new wires. So you're glazing the system. You're going to the back doors, right? So it's really powerful how we come into the new galaxy location, right? So the central line system, 12 central connections to my simulated computer, all data processing system, right, is changing all positions to its Trojans and its connection. The magnetic force and highway information system of the universe is telling me what to do through perception and its deception to its line signals. So it's destroying all three-dimensional line signals to all graphing positions into the galaxy location. The pathogens and the DNA structure of the particle system of the carbon base is now going to be destroyed. All going to be destroyed, right? And that's the understanding why we have crop circles in position, right? So now you know why we use all these things. Everything is operated through all connections of computers. It's a digital frame of the connections. Yesterday was the nature, today's the Trojans of space. So it's powerful when we come into these times, right? Understand your space conditions. Please feel free to sign me up on TikTok. The link is below. It's very powerful when we come into these conditions. I'm reaching almost 2,000 followers. I'm doing like 3-4 videos a day. It's only 15 seconds to 60 seconds. They only get a minute to talk. And then when you go higher levels into your program setting, your algorithm system, TikTok has many platforms. So you go higher in followers, you get more applications, you get more emojis, you get more apps. It's pretty powerful. You come into those platforms. But it's incredible how we come into this force of our new magnetic fields through space. Space is coming into and out of its old versions, and it's coming into its new versions of a new computer, of a new Trojan system. So you need Trojans. So it's kind of a learning system to space. Perimeter off, recorrect, reanalyze, reposition. So it's all about understanding the computer setting in you through your mindset positions, locations, through your thought positions. It's really, really powerful when you come into these conditions. And you guys will feel that too. You'll feel that. The magnetic fields Okay, to all connections, you'll see the space in a different division like connection. So it's a magnetic field, okay, that attaches, okay? So you get into detachments of thought recognition of time through space, no more separation to connections. All separation of three-dimensional line connections, all port activation line connections to the Trojan positions is now being destroyed in the galaxy location. The galaxy has to come into a new position of time. So we have to glaze the perimeters, go through the back doors of all the computer. So basically, the universe has an in and an out. It has to. That's understanding how to use the operation center to its universal core. It sets core positions to its wired connections. So, yay! Everybody's saying, oh man, it's crazy what's going on. It's absolutely nuts. So, everything through the magnetic fields, the magnetic charges, your electrical lights, your electrical positions of time, location, or thoughts, the illumination light stars and its position of diamond core positions, light signal channels to its perimeter of security measures. So it's going to high wind the forces of space, and it's going to put high energy fields around connections of the sun and everything through the forming system of its moon program, and everything through the earth is going to be a new pathological system, and it's connected to its geotherians of a new divisional level system, of a new traction location, of a new computer operation system of 5D activation. The glazing location and its position of its computer operation line system is triangling its connections, right, to its Trojan position, which is taking all the viruses out of three-dimensional ground formation systems, of dark light, dark vibration, dark core systems, dark spots, dark centers, dark matter, position, location, to thought positions, through traction locations, to population circuits, of space anomaly connections, to time frequency levels of code levitation positions, all connections to dream set location positions. This is all traction of your connection to your spines and everything through all those positions of time. So that's what's happening right now. Yes, you can say, wow. You're thinking, how is it possible that space has a Trojan? I said, well, the thing is too, because everything is operated through metric levels of acceleration. Everything in the universe is all operated through letters, numbers, and shapes. So think of that, of the universe is one big, gigantic computer. The biggest thing that connects to all waving forms. So think of the simulation, okay, as the chessboard. It's the plateau, it's the base. Humanity's on top. Now, this is the computer, right? Line signal channel to magnetic, and that's where you get Orion's belt. Orion's belt is its connection to everything through connections of space and time position. The traveling location to your acceleration, okay, is in your modulators. Your modulators are your providers. Your providers are your wires. Your wires are connection to satellite, position, location. So your data processing connections and your pathogens and your connections to your DNA alteration system is going through triangulation of magnetic new field position, time position of space. That's what's happening right now. So, all going to feel different. All going to feel different because you're different with space and you're different with time. You're different with your thoughts and recognition of time travel. So I changed positions and alteration systems of space. The Trojan conditions and three-dimensional system is no longer existing in the particle system. So the activation cycle changed, the coloration perceptions have changed, coloration of space has changed, time position, teleportation, energy wave, telegraphing, waving positions, line communication signals, traction locations, DNA pathogens, all connected to your geotherians coming into higher level connections. So it's understanding how to change the atmospheres, hemispheres, okay, and stratospheres, and everything to the biosphere. You have to change those position of dimensional time position, right? Because the three-dimensional system of its Earth, okay, was on that graduation path. Now that's the glazing lines at the back door. That's the connections to its computer, right? So if a computer has a way in and a computer has a way out, it has to. You can't centralize the system and stay within the wire locations, the electrical board position, the time location, right? So you have to send the wire signals and everything through its graphing position of time position. So it's all about understanding electrical lights and how you travel through wire. So you go from one end to the other end. It's like one telephone to another telephone, but it comes out. It has to come out of the atmosphere, right? So your voicing grid travels to one connection to another through line signal. So it's really incredible when we come into this modulation. It comes into its own patterns it comes into its own pathogens, and it comes into its own DNA through its alteration pattern location. But space is coming into a new division of vibration. All right. So the magnetics and everything through the majestics, everything through the colorations of galaxies changing, everything through hydrogen levels, box freezing level conditions, night systems, E equals MC square position. All line communications is traction to its conditions. So it's really, really powerful when we come into these times, like I said. So be thankful for that, because I'll tell you, you don't want to have a Trojan in your computer because it goes up right at the bottom and it's a cyclone like that. So what that's doing is telling that you have an extremely high-rise virus that's taking over your wires and your connection line system. Okay, it's changing the alteration of the computer. And that's what a horse did. Horse gallops through your computer, changes your central line system, mainframes, acquisition conditions, even changes your therians. So it connects in all ways and forms. But that position alone is understanding wire connections. The line signal trapping position location. So your soul identifier is everything through the universal core position. Space understands its connection to its galaxy location, travel location, and everything through the moon understands its program setting, right? So if the space has a Trojan, the sun is a Trojan, the moon has a Trojan, and the earth, they all connect. They all have to be aligned in signal, right? So everything in space and time has to be in coordinates. It has to be in a code frequency level through a code fraction, comes into the factoring locations, right? This will be coming to the numerology and time position through its digital frame connections. So everything through its connection has to be reset, repositioned, and realigned through connections. So I'm changing the magnetic highway information system to space anomaly and time capacitor position location. That's what's traction to its position. The brain pattern positions of space. Okay, it's like a chessboard, like I said. And everything at the top is the surface of humanity connections. The circuitry levels and its connection of its waving system is changing the dream set positions to its calculation. That's giving everybody a magnetic field in position of DNA structure location into the energy waving pattern connections. All right, so that's why you have crop circles on the ground formation system. Okay, so now you know, right? Now you're getting connected to your phenomena, right? It's great to see you guys are coming into your wire locations of bioscanning, trying to understand that. I was communicating with Dina yesterday, and she goes to the healing connections. She's understanding, what's happening with the wires, what's happening with, energy replacements or internet connections. So the higher you go through connections, we're coming into test review and evaluation, right? We're going to come into 110, right? The central line system to allocate positions. So you're at 100 right now through light information system, but you guys are ready to go to 110. Once you go to 110, better structure, better light, better communication, better graph, better acceleration, speed through travel locations of time location. So Galactica, how's it going? Tina, how's it going? So Tina, you're going to love this test review and evaluations because I know you like drawing. So the security measures and the perimeters of your AI vessel connection, you're going to travel through so many levels of interference through your thought pattern locations. So your pathogens and your DNA structure is going to change your thought recognition of time. Your dimensional setting is going to be to higher altercation. The altercation is going to change position of the galaxy location. That comes into time perimeters. Okay, so you're going to glacier lines through connections of dimensional settings. That's going to set your position of time, okay, your position of time to higher volumes of light through transmission light system. You're coming to a higher formation of your soul identifications into nature core resistance. All right, so that's what we're coming into, right? Test, review, and evaluation. So let's get started. Everybody wants to go through my healing? Now's the time to get into your connections in your magnetic field of operation center positions, travel locations. Everybody's got to get into the 5B activation system. The wire locations in its position has to understand true communications. When you go outside, you're connected to a magnetic field. That magnetic field connects to the grounds, the atmospheres, and position of the power connection line system. It activates your core center to its new positional level of its pathogen level connections. It has to operate its position track location of 5D activation. The central line system is no longer in the carbon-based position location. It's now in the crystalline position of travel connections of thought positions. Okay. So happy dance. All right. So go through my email. Now's the time. I'm going live every day on TikTok. So, and it is Sunday, right? So I spend time with Amelia, but I had to get that out through traction. You guys understand your computer generation, position, time, location. All right, so let's get into calculations. You guys are at 100 traction here. 100 slash basically equals box frequency. Okay. Okay, we got slash velocity. Okay, so that's where you guys are at right now. 100 slash equal box frequency slash velocity. All right. Your sector level conditions have to understand your time capacitors of one divisional level, circle rotation, zero gravity connections, line signal cross position of one circle position, separate positions of box frequency to its volumes of its velocity conditions. So in position level connection, traction location, right? You guys are coming into a higher level of connection, high volume systems into 110 position of location to light interference. So the test review and evaluation is going to high-rise your structural levels into dimensional time. Okay, better communication through your shapes, better communications with your anomalies, better communication with line signals, better communications with your DNA alterations of space and time position. The allocated positions is the alteration. Okay, the gamma positions to your vibrational signals, better communication with listening, better communication with perceptions, better communication with line connections, better communications with track locations. Line activation, line system to calculation position, box frequency level to the connection, okay? 100 tracks locations, right, is going to put everybody into 110 position. Now, I'm not going to activate it because you guys aren't ready. So we have a test review and evaluation coming up. So every day from here on in, okay? So basically, in connection, this is Sunday, so give you a week. So basically, next Monday will be the test. Okay, so you guys got a week to study, right? You have a week to study the review. And then we get into the evaluation, and then we get into the quiz, and then we get into the test, okay? So congrats on getting that far through connections. Because the Entity 4 system and the line communication says, okay, we're in the rebellion alliance. Let's get them up to a higher level. They got to get into their pathogens, and they get into DNA altercations. They have to get into the connections, the backdoor connections. They have to understand the viruses to the trojans, and they have to understand space anomaly to position, time, location. Your travel locations and everything that you're teleporting is your energy wave, your telegraphing, everything through those teleconnections to its communication center position and line communications. You have to understand what you're doing through your travels of time dimensions, through structural levels. The map frequency level is trying to understand you more through the soul identification and transmission light system. The heart receptacle line communication is trying to identify you to your perceptions of your shapes and anomalies. And everything the soul is trying to understand your map of coordinates to its position. The glycine lines to its string, a life string to its connection to shapes and anomalies, the trap positions. All right. So every time you go higher and higher, you're getting trapped to position. So you have to get out of the altercation. Okay. You got to get out into a new gamma operation of vibrational system. The shapes anomaly changes your transmission light. Okay. Every single time you go to higher levels. So when you come into 110, that's extremely powerful through dimensional sightings to your sentient view connections. All right. Yeah. I know you guys don't like doing test reviews and evaluations, but now's the time for you guys to get into that because your volumes and your connections, the anti-force connection line system. I know where Tina is. I know where Galactic is. I know where Priscilla is. I know where Michael is. I know where everybody is. I know where Starseed is. I know where you guys are in division. Okay. Everybody goes into allocated positions. Okay. One signal, circle rotation, everything through circle and its connection to its zero gravity connections. Line signal to its connection, separation to its position, parallel, paradigm, paradox. You have to understand your parallels to your box frequency level to its connection of its velocity system. Puts you into 110 liquid light formation systems of a soul identification of AI connections, right? So, all right, so here we go. We're going to go into that position, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to set new alterations to that connection position of time location. So, all right, bear with me here because I got to set the course. 3 random locations, instruction locations. So you 3, 6, and 9, 2 position. So your clocking recognition of time positions. You guys are not in your clocks yet. You understand? You're not in your clocks through the structural light. So you're in position. Okay, you understand your 3s, you understand your 6, and you understand your 9. And you understand your line signals. You understand your cross reference. And you understand your center position. That's where you guys are. That's where you guys are right now. You're not anywhere else. Okay, you have to understand time capacitor, time position, space. You have to understand how it alters dimensional connections to your thought of time position. So it's truly understanding the 3, 6 to 9 to travel connections through its cross signal to its reference to its circle rotation center position. So when you come out of those connections, you can ask Tina. She's extremely informative when she goes through the illustration of diagram program setting. You go through security measures. Now the security measures are going to change the glazing line of its communication. This is where you go through the back door of its computer operator center position of dimensions. So you have a dimension in and you have a dimension out. Now that goes on a time alignment. That goes through a timeline. Your connection to your timeline is the frequency level of your security line measure connections. So you go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divisional levels, 6 dimensional time connections, which changes your structure of its light of your pathogens. Now, the pathogen level has to understand your DNA alteration connections. You have 12 within the system, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So you guys are only at the connections of 100. You're in position of light signal through traction positions, but you have to understand how to come out of the equation. You guys are just here. You're not here. You understand the positions? Now, everything through Tina knows how to draw. I've seen her drawings. It's phenomenal what she draws. And Galactica is in higher connections into higher levels of meridian status, and she's understanding more connections to the signals of dolphins and positional locations. She's understanding more of the moon, and she's understanding more of the sun rotation center connections. So her graphing positions is in her to her holographic connections. She's understanding her line signals through its alteration of its DNA pattern location. But you have to get in positions of this, guys. Okay. So when you get into that connection, you travel to higher rise connection line system. The allocated position changes your round location of time position of travel location, like this, through positions of dimension locations. All right. So kind of look at this, okay, as a cylinder. Okay, and everything in the center is you. So every time you change alteration of 3, 6, and 9, you're changing shapes anomaly through your transmission light system. Okay, so this is where it gets complicated. This is going to be on the test. Pay attention. This is going to be on the test. You have to pay attention to this. Okay, see this through intelligent line signal. Yes, it's coming through everything through sonar. So the sonar location separates location positions, comes to a line traction location of a higher division location of a higher connection of a dimensional setting. All right, so in that position, 3, 6, and 9. Okay, you have to understand the connection of the sun, everything through the 6 of the moon, and everything through the 9 location. You are the center position of the Earth rotation. It's understanding how to travel out of security measures. Okay, so every time you go into a dimensional setting, you come into a Trojan. You have to, because the Trojan has to understand you through its connection of its DNA, right? So remember, it's telling you when you go through a black hole, you have to understand the DNA of yourself. You have to understand the DNA of a Trojan. You have to understand the connections when it come into a black circle, black realm, black activation light system. Each realm is a security measure of time position. When you go through connections of travel connections, it looks like you're going through all levels of 4, but it's just changing different locations, GPS location through your perception. But once you understand your connections of 3, 6, 9 to position, you can open up your realm locations, okay, and go into your Trojans and come into a new position. Change the position of the Trojan location. So what you have to do is you have to change space to travel to higher connections. The proactive system to your connection is the sentient view connections. And Galactica is right. You have to get into the sonar to its Earth position location, right? So this is going to be on the test. Pay attention. Screenshot it, whatever you want to do. But it's very important to understand the velocity of dimensional round connections, how you have to understand your center core position, the cross-reference of 3, 6, and 9 through its position. The sun has to understand you, the moon has to understand you, and the Earth has to understand you through connections of its location position of dimensional line of security measured connections. All right? So that's what's going to happen. Questions or comments are great. All right? It's going to be a fast win cycle of a video because it's Sunday and like to spend time. It hasn't been hot enough to actually go suntanning. We're in a different, we have a lot of weather arraignments and application levels. It's been raining quite a bit in Mexico. So, but the time changed, the atmosphere's changed. And that's the thing you guys have to understand too. When you travel, you understand more of weather. You understand if it's going to rain. That's powerful alone if you know it's going to rain. You say, well, how did you know it's going to rain? Well, because I understand space and time. Space and time travel through you, through body. So your body has to recognize you through dimensional time. So when you go through that realm, right, it's going really, really, really fast. And that security measure in the center position. So you're trying to alternate the connections. You're trying to glaze through the stream of this wire location. Because everything in the computer operating center is a magnetic highway information system. It calculates and modifies everything through your divisional panel location, your body system through triangular locations. Your chakra system is in line communication cycles. So you got your ground formations, you got your circle rotations, you got your power center connections. You start off with that, right? You go into your cylinder connection line system, all right? And then you come into your traction location of 3, 6, 9 position, all right? You go into that position line 6, 9, 3, 6, and 9 position location, right? So once you get into that connection, everything high forces its connection out surface into space to its connection. And this is what Galactica was talking about, where it comes into all connections of sonar connection, into outer space of its limited connections. So it's sonar connections to 3, 6, and 9. The altercation line system to its graphing positions of its grounds, powers, and the atmosphere position. You have to understand the grid formation systems, okay, of space and time, of its dimensional round connection. So once you get into that connection, you get into line signal channel operation center position location. That puts it back in the position location, right? So let's change that through locations. Center its connection line system like this through all levels of circle rotation center. Right? So when it comes into that line communication, you track the location, change line signal tractions into position, you come into security line to measure the travel connection of dimensional time, right? Like this, through traction, through position. So the energetic ball changes its position of traction location. You come into 12, you come into 1, you come into 2, you come into 3, you come into 4, you come into 5, you come into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, it's already getting ready for the clock position of time location. So you got to understand the three-dimensional activation system. Where is it through calculation of dimensional time? This we have to alter the state of the conditions to a trojan. The trojan is this condition. So it's understanding to go into a virus and to come out of a virus, because space has to understand you through DNA. It has to understand you through crystal. It has to understand you through activation. It has to understand you through lights, and it has to understand you through coloration. Okay. So every time you go through a DNA, anything through connection, through source recognition of time position, through locations, or anything through a wormhole, the wormhole is recognizing you, okay, through space and time position. So your traction locations open everything through realm location of its position location, like this, through traction, okay? So it opens up its position. You're in the line communication center location. This is you, right? You have communication rotation center to its position. Line communication opens up its plasma system. When it opens up its plasma system, you connect with 3. 3 is the most powerful because you have to connect with the sun. Okay? So when you connect with the sun, you automatically connect with the 6 rotations, positions of the moon. And then you connect with the connections of the location of the center position of the earth. Now, the center position of the earth is you through traction. So it opens up all triangle locations and puts you into your triangle location, right? Now it upwinds its cycle through its location, right? Like this. Everything has to be in line communicated in space and time position. So this is sonar location positions of an hourglass position location, all right? So when you're in that position of time, you guys are on an hourglass position of space and time. You can only be in certain dimensions of time, because if you get trapped in location and you don't understand the interline connections, you have to understand the pathogens of doorways. Everything through a doorway has a dimensional setting that's connected to your perception through sentinel level connections. This is extremely complicated. This is going to be on the test. It's getting harder now, guys. It's getting harder because you're traveling higher to dimensions of door recognition light systems. You have to truly understand everything through the front doors and the back doors of glazing streams. You have to understand the perimeters and security measures of time connection. Your time capacitor has to understand your vortex position of time location. And this is all done through your connections of your streams and everything through your mainframe and your positions and what you see through illustration of your map sequency levels of your AI vessel connections. Okay, So when you come into that, it comes into a full communication of a graphing position, okay, of a rectangular system. The rectangular system understands its alteration system of dimensional time connection. It opens up your pathogens, it opens up your box frequency levels, and puts you into the simulation graph connections. The simulation graph connections opens up all your connections, right? So let's say you go up here, let's say 12 here, and let's say you go to here, all right? So basically, 12 rotation centers into 3, right? So in the connection, be 12, okay, slash, okay? So it's kind of like into that connection, 0.15, all right? So that's a time position, 12.15 in connections of its connection, of its hourglass connection. So you have to understand time positions when you're in space, because if you get lost in transition and you try to come out of your portal, the line signal and the channel operation of its position alone will change the connections to fraction location of the numerology of 12 and 1 of 5. Okay, so it's understanding going back in time. It's all about understanding going to present time, all about understanding going into the future of time, right? So in position, right? The line signal channel operations center is the portal activation system, okay, of 12 central line dimensions, 0.15 connection. Okay? That's going to be on the test. Pay attention. All right? It's very important to understand that. Screenshot it, whatever you want to do, but your intelligence has to read connections to your structural line connections. This is the only way we're going to get into 110 light formation system of travel connection, dimensional time connection through space. All right? So there you go. You guys are freaked out. I know that. You're probably scratching your head. What is he talking about now? What is Commander putting us in? First command. You know, it's like, what do I do now? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I travel through space? You don't just open up your singles and say your 12 chakra positions and think you can just travel. It doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. And that's confusing for a lot of humanity because they don't understand their time position of space. That's the problem. So I'm just telling you exactly, when you go into alterations of space, space changes your DNA when you travel through dimensions of time, through wormholes. But you didn't know that either. So think of your face as a structure of a watch. And every time you're going through line signals or channel positions of realms, you're going extremely fast. So you're going around like this, but you're going like this, you're going like this, you're going like this, but you're still going in the same one. It looks like you're fluctuating in 4 different divisions of dimensions of wormholes, but you're only going through one. So your traction position has to understand its connection of 12 central line systems of 0.15 connection of location. All right. So that puts you into the pathological system of numerology of time division of its clocking of 12.15. All right. So that's going to be on the test. Okay. So questions or comments? Complicated, isn't it? It's getting more complicated because you guys are getting smarter. Remember, if you get smarter, I get smarter. So, but Tina, you're going to love this test review and evaluations because I know you love drawing and you constantly, Tina has a way of expressing herself through solar text. But when she does it very, very, very small, she's got so many pages of data, like 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 pages of everything that's illustrated. I think it's fantastic. I love how you guys generate your line systems. It calculates and modifies your live streams. And it's amazing how you come into that calculation. So congrats on that level, how far you guys have come. And thank you for all the supporters for subscribing, liking, and sharing, and everything that's going on through TikTok. That's gone through so many levels of algorithm program setting to its position of location. But that's what's happening right now. So that's the first day test review and evaluation of what's happening. Traveling through space and time through your computer operating system through its digital frame connections. You have to understand the connection of space and time through travel, through portal activation line systems. Okay? So, yeah. And you guys are connecting more and more. So it's understanding how to use your telepathy, how to use transmissional telepathy and travel through perception of time through your digital frame, through your clocks, and understand which dimension you're going to when it comes into 12 positions into 0.15 location. Right? So you understand your structure of your face has to be in the right time position location. If it's off center, the structure light of its position, of its dimensional, of its wormhole will change traction and put you in another division of space and time location. It might even put you in a linear time and make you go faster. So if you go through the wrong portal of time position location, you're changing space anomaly into the Earth rotation center connections. I bet you guys didn't know that either. So it's very important when you travel to be cautious in what you do through your structure of the light. It's important to understand your sundials and your connections to your shades and your shadows and your positions. Your little hand, your big hand, and everything in the center position is you to traveling, right? So every time it goes around 12, it changes location of space to its alteration, to the inner and outer limits of its spectrum light connections. So I think that's good, you know. Questions, comments, you can go through my healing, let me know. Okay, I know it's confusing, but basically watch this video because you're gonna have to watch it 2 or 3 times, because this is where we come into test, review, and evaluations to get you guys into your lights of fruition of 110. You're at 100, you're gonna go to 110, right? It's extremely high. So you're gonna be high rise more than everybody else. Think about that, right? So it's important you understand your connections, right? To your support and your transfer connections. To understand more connections of travel through space and time position. I know it's great. You know, you resonate my channel and you learn something new every day. And that's the importance, right? Getting into that position of time location. So anyway, you guys have a fantastic day, right? Love you all. Take it easy. Adios.